bit in depth. It talks about your mind, the belief system, and the core of our behavior, and how we change it. So let me just share the screen, and we will continue with our audiobook review, The Four Agreements.
The society's dream, our belief system is the book of laws that rules our personal dream. All these laws exist in our mind, we believe them, and the judge inside us bases everything on these rules. The judge decrees, and the victim suffers the guilt and punishment. But who says there is justice in this dream? True justice is paying only once for each mistake. True injustice is paying more than once for each mistake. How many times do we pay for one mistake? The answer is thousands of times. The human is the only animal on earth that pays 1,000 times for the same mistake. The rest of the animals pay once for every mistake they make. But not us. We have a powerful memory. We make a mistake, we judge ourselves, we find ourselves guilty, and we punish ourselves. If justice exists, then that was enough, we don't need to do it again. But every time we remember, we judge ourselves again, we are guilty again, and we punish ourselves again, and again, and again. If we have a wife or husband, he or she also reminds us of the mistake, so we can judge ourselves again, punish ourselves again, and find ourselves guilty again. Is this fair? How many times do we make our spouse, our children, or our parents pay for the same mistake? Every time we remember the mistake, we blame them again and send them all the emotional poison we feel at the injustice, and then we make them pay again for the same mistake. Is that justice? The judge in the mind is wrong because the belief system, the book of law, is wrong. The whole dream is based on false law. 95% of the beliefs we have stored in our minds are nothing but lies, and we suffer because we believe all these lies. In the dream of the planet, it is normal for humans to suffer, to live in fear, and to create emotional dramas. The outside dream is not a pleasant dream, it is a dream of violence, a dream of fear, a dream of war, a dream of injustice. The personal dream of humans will vary, but globally it is mostly a nightmare. If we look at human society, we see a place so difficult to live in because it is ruled by fear. Throughout the world we see human suffering, anger, revenge, addictions, violence in the street, and tremendous injustice. It may exist at different levels in different countries around the world, but fear is controlling the outside dream. If we compare the dream of human society with the description of hell that religions all around the world have promulgated, we find they are exactly the same. Religions say that hell is a place of punishment, a place of fear, pain, and suffering, a place where the fire burns you. Fire is generated by emotions that come from fear. Whenever we feel the emotions of anger, jealousy, envy, or hate, we experience a fire burning within us. We are living in a dream of hell. If you consider hell as a state of mind, then hell is all around us. Others may warn us that if we don't do what they say we should do, we will go to hell. Bad news. We are already in hell, including the people who tell us that. No human can condemn another to hell because we are already there. Others can put us into a deeper hell, true. But only if we allow this to happen. Every human has his or her own personal dream, and just like the society dream, it is often ruled by fear. We learn to dream hell in our own life, in our personal dream. The same fears manifest in different ways for each person, of course, but we experience anger, jealousy, hate, envy, and other negative emotions. Our personal dream can also become an ongoing nightmare where we suffer and live in a state of fear. But we don't need to dream a nightmare. It is possible to enjoy a pleasant dream. All of humanity is searching for truth, justice, and beauty. We are on an eternal search for the truth because we only believe in the lies we have stored in our mind. We are searching for justice because in the belief system we have, there is no justice. We search for beauty because it doesn't matter how beautiful a person is, we don't believe that person has beauty. We keep searching and searching, when everything is already within us. There is no truth to find. Wherever we turn our heads, all we see is the truth, but with the agreements and beliefs we have stored in our mind, we have no eyes for this truth. We don't see the truth because we are blind. What blinds us are all those false beliefs we have in our mind. We have the need to be right and to make others wrong. We trust what we believe, and our beliefs set us up for suffering. It is as if we live in the middle of a fog that doesn't let us see any further than our own nose. We live in a fog that is not even real. This fog is a dream, your personal dream of life, what you believe, all the concepts you have about what you are, all the agreements you have made with others, with yourself, and even with God. Your whole mind is a fog which the Toltecs called a mitode, pronounced mih-tote. Your mind is a dream where 1,000 people talk at the same time, and nobody understands each other. This is the condition of the human mind, a big mitode, and with that big mitode you cannot see what you really are. In India they call the mitode Maya, which means illusion. It is the personality's notion of I am. Everything you believe about yourself and the world, all the concepts and programming you have in your mind, are all the mitode. We cannot see who we truly are, we cannot see that we are not free. That is why humans resist life. To be alive is the biggest fear humans have. Death is not the biggest fear we have, our biggest fear is taking the risk to be alive, the risk to be alive and express what we really are. Just being ourselves is the biggest fear of humans. We have learned to live our lives trying to satisfy other people's demands. We have learned to live by other people's points of view because of the fear of not being accepted and of not being good enough for someone else. During the process of domestication, we form an image of what perfection is in order to try to be good enough. We create an image of how we should be in order to be accepted by everybody. We especially try to please the ones who love us, like mom and dad, big brothers and sisters, the priests and the teacher. Trying to be good enough for them, we create an image of perfection, but we don't fit this image. We create this image, but this image is not real. We are never going to be perfect from this point of view. Never. Not being perfect, we reject ourselves. And the level of self-rejection depends upon how effective the adults were in breaking our integrity. After domestication, it is no longer about being good enough for anybody else. We are not good enough for ourselves because we don't fit with our own image of perfection. We cannot forgive ourselves for not being what we wish to be, or rather what we believe we should be. We cannot forgive ourselves for not being perfect. We know we are not what we believe we are supposed to be, and so we feel false, frustrated, and dishonest. We try to hide ourselves, and we pretend to be what we are not. The result is that we feel unauthentic and wear social masks to keep others from noticing this. We are so afraid that somebody else will notice that we are not what we pretend to be. We judge others according to our image of perfection as well, and naturally they fall short of our expectations. We dishonor ourselves just to please other people. We even do harm to our physical bodies just to be accepted by others. You see teenagers taking drugs just to avoid being rejected by other teenagers. They are not aware that the problem is that they don't accept themselves. They reject themselves because they are not what they pretend to be. They wish to be a certain way, but they are not, and for this they carry shame and guilt. Humans punish themselves endlessly for not being what they believe they should be. They become very self-abusive, and they use other people to abuse themselves as well. But nobody abuses us more than we abuse ourselves, and it is the judge, the victim, and the belief system that make us do this. True, we find people who say their husband or wife, or mother, or father, abused them, but you know that we abuse ourselves much more than that. The way we judge ourselves is the worst judge that ever existed. If we make a mistake in front of people, we try to deny the mistake and cover it up. But as soon as we are alone, the judge becomes so strong, The guilt is so strong, and we feel so stupid, or so bad, or so unworthy. In your whole life, nobody has ever abused you more than you have abused yourself. And the limit of your self-abuse is exactly the limit that you will tolerate from someone else. If someone abuses you a little more than you abuse yourself, you will probably walk away from that person. But if someone abuses you a little less than you abuse yourself, you will probably stay in the relationship and tolerate it endlessly. If you abuse yourself very badly, you can even tolerate someone who beats you up, humiliates you, and treats you like dirt. Why? Because in your belief system you say, I deserve it. This person is doing me a favor by being with me. I'm not worthy of love and respect. I'm not good enough. We have the need to be accepted and to be loved by others, but we cannot accept and love ourselves. The more self-love we have, the less we will experience self-abuse. Self-abuse comes from self-rejection, and self-rejection comes from having an image of what it means to be perfect and never measuring up to that ideal. Our image of perfection is the reason we reject ourselves. It is why we don't accept ourselves the way we are, and why we don't accept others the way they are. Prelude to a new dream. There are thousands of agreements you have made with yourself, with other people, with your dream of life, with God, with society, with your parents, with your spouse, with your children. But the most important agreements are the ones you made with yourself. In these agreements you tell yourself who you are, what you feel, what you believe, and how to behave. The result is what you call your personality. In these agreements you say, this is what I am. This is what I believe. I can do certain things, and some things I cannot do. This is reality, that is fantasy, this is possible, that is impossible. One single agreement is not such a problem, but we have many agreements that make us suffer, that make us fail in life. If you want to live a life of joy and fulfillment, you have to find the courage to break those agreements that are fear-based and claim your personal power. The agreements that come from fear require us to expend a lot of energy, but the agreements that come from love help us to conserve energy and even gain extra energy. Each of us is born with a certain amount of personal power that we rebuild every day after we rest. Unfortunately, we spend all our personal power first to create all these agreements and then to keep these agreements. Our personal power is dissipated by all the agreements we have created, and the result is that we feel powerless. We have just enough power to survive each day, because most of it is used to keep the agreements that trap us in the dream of the planet. How can we change the entire dream of our life when we have no power to change even the smallest agreement?
Okay, so so what we are discussing now, this chapter, the agreements are our own beliefs of what is right or wrong, and that all it says comes from the people who associate with, or parents or spouse or your siblings, the society, and that's what gets embedded in our brain. Okay, and that means we judge ourselves that, okay, I should be like this, so this is ideal. Okay, and I am not like this now, so that means it talks about you penalize yourself. Okay, so you penalize yourself saying that, okay, I'm not this one, I should be this, but because I'm not that person, then I am not good, I am not worthy, or so those kind of thoughts, that what is right and wrong is our own definition. Okay, and the definition is framed over the years. So, and that has to be changed. Okay, so that means it talks about self love, so that means you have to first love yourself, accept yourself the way you are. Okay, and and the and the beliefs, what you think that it is, belief is what it should be or not shouldn't be, so those beliefs, these have to be changed. Okay, so it talks about the kids, a lot of teenagers and kids, they get into drugs. So why is that so? Is because they cannot accept themselves, they reject, they don't like who they are. Okay. And because of the frustration, because if you do not like who you are, that the self love is not there, because you identify yourself that you should be like this, but you are like this, which I am not able to, be like this. And then go through the self destruction. So that means here it says that, okay, nobody tries. It talks about the revenge. That means, you know all of us, you remind ourselves that, okay, something happened, uh, 5 years, 1 year back, 5 years back, 10 years back, and then on from that we derive, kind of a conclusion again and again. So you penalize, you punish yourself, okay, with your thoughts. Okay, oh, how could that person say me that, or how could that person do me this? So you again think about it. So more and more time you think about certain things, it creates certain brain patterns, and then it creates that beliefs, those beliefs in your mind. So that is what we do. When you start to think about things which are your experiences, okay, positive and negative, when you ponder upon, when you think over your negatives again and again, then the feeling what it's created within yourself is bad feeling. It's sorrow, it's regret, it's anger, anxiety. But when the feeling what you create within yourself, positive, you think about the good that those have happened. Okay, then you create those positive vibes. So interesting. So we continue with the book further as well.
If we can see it is our agreements that rule our own life, and we don't like the dream of our life, we need to change the agreements. When we are finally ready to change our agreements, there are 4 very powerful agreements that will help us to break those agreements that come from fear and deplete our energy.
So we are coming to the 4 agreements, what the book title is all about. So now these are the 4 agreements if you need to look at and change. So let's talk about it.
Each time you break an agreement, all the power you used to create it returns to you. If you adopt these 4 new agreements, they will create enough personal power for you to change the entire system of your old agreements. You need a very strong will in order to adopt the 4 agreements, but if you can begin to live your life with these agreements, the transformation in your life will be amazing. You will see the drama of hell disappear right before your very eyes. Instead of living in a dream of hell, you will be creating a new dream, your personal dream of heaven. 2. The first agreement: be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult one to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. The Gospel of John in the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God." Through the Word you express your creative power. It is through the Word that you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through the Word. What you
So it is through, this is a very important thing, it is through your words you manifest everything. Okay, so that is very, very powerful. So I think it's worth noting it down. That's words what you speak. It talks about the biblical Bible, about in the beginning it was only the words. Even in Hinduism, which I follow, even in Hinduism as well, exactly, the same thing has been told, that it's a word, okay, and the whole creation. So I'll call it, Hinduism is called Brahma. Okay, Brahma is the nucleus. Okay, in English you can say Brahma is the nucleus, or the origin of things. Okay, so but the Trinity, that means in Hinduism they believe in Trinity. That means the creator, the manager, and the destroyer. The Trinity is called also Brahma. That means the creation itself. It's, in a way, if you see that word itself is nucleus. That means everything starts very very small. With in nucleus, and then it also tells about talks about the Brahma, the god who created you know the universe. Okay, so from the beginning, that the sound. And in Hinduism you must have heard about Om. They chant in a sound called Om. So in Hinduism it's believed that the beginning. Okay, the universe started with this word called Om. Okay, so that is where in Christianity as well, if you refer, it talks about the same thing. In the beginning it was only the words. Okay, so let's carry it through.
You dream, what you feel, and what you really are, will all be manifested through the word. The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force, it is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events in your life.
So the words, what you speak, is what you how you create. Okay, so that means, so see, it's very very important now for us to understand that sometimes you feel like okay, everything is beyond me. Okay, things are beyond me, I'm not able. But it talks about the words. You can create things with your own words. So that means mind your own words. Okay, and be the creator. That means speak the words what you want to manifest. Okay,
You can speak. What other animal on the planet can speak? The
that's
word is
right.
the most powerful tool you have as a human, it is the tool of magic. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. One edge.
So in the beginning it talks about the dream. So that means how everything that's created is it's dream. It's the manifestation. That means what is dream? It's a desire. It's what is your thought pattern. I think only human being have that ability to dream. Okay, and then if you remember, still in the beginning it talks about that dream, that gets shaped, when a child is born with that dream, slowly gets formed. But that is manipulated by the society, by the parents, by the siblings, and the priest. It talks about, that means whatever you have been taught in the society. Okay, so that dream. So so in the beginning it talks about that everything is, you desire your dream. Okay, and how do you shape that dream? How do you create? You can create your own dream. That the method is here in this book of the four agreement. The first agreement it talks about is the word. So it can shape and create. So that means you are your own creator. So in Hinduism, so we, it's called the karma. Karma means the action. So that it talks of, the basic of this karma yoga, or different yogas or different chapters. Okay, on different ways you connect, or you find your supreme, which some people call it God, or some people call it your supreme being. Okay, and so you are your own karma. So that means you are your own the creator. you know So so the entire thing, action is within your own right. Okay. And so who you become is through your own karma.
Edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Depending upon how it is used, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. All the magic you possess is based on your word. Your word is pure magic, and misuse of your word is black magic. The word is so powerful that one word can change a life or destroy the lives of millions of people. Some years ago, one man in Germany, by the use of the word, manipulated a whole country of the most intelligent people. He led them into a world war with just the power of his word.
So it talks about the power of words. So that in out of this four agreement, it says that this is the most important one. Is how powerful is the word? It talks about that. He referring to one man in Germany. It talks about Adolf Hitler. Okay, so with his words only, few words, you know, and he destroyed so many people and humanity itself. He got the entire world to fight against each other, and these are the words. So even in every front as well, it talks about countries in the world as well. One person's word can destroy, even in your household, in families and friend circle. So you'll always find that the words what you speak, it can either destroy a relationship or it can build up a relationship. So words are so very powerful.
He convinced others to commit the most atrocious acts of violence. He activated people's fear with the word, and like a big explosion, there was killing and war all around the world. All over the world, humans destroyed other humans because they were afraid of each other. Hitler's word, based on fear-generated beliefs and agreements, will be remembered for centuries. The human mind is like a fertile ground where seeds are continually being planted. The seeds are opinions, ideas, and concepts. You plant a seed, a thought, and it grows. The word is like a seed.
So human mind is a fertile land. So that's a powerful statement. So human mind is a fertile land, and in that fertile land, the seed what you show. Okay, there are two seeds he talks about. The seeds what you show is the thoughts and your words. There are two. That's only two seeds. Okay, thoughts and the words. So the thoughts, whatever you think, that manifests. That means that grows. And he talks about that, penalizing yourself over and over again. That means thinking about things again and again. So he thoughts about that becomes, becomes big. So that means that fertile land, that seed, one thought, and that thought again, if you keep thinking, and that grows, and that's for positive and negative as well. So if you have put positive thoughts, that grows and become usually positive ones. And if you put the negative thoughts, and that means you think about the negative things again and again that grows as well. That's fertile land. So that goes in both the way, negative, positive, because the mind doesn't know what is negative and positive. So it's you who has to decide. It's us, me has to decide. So all of us have to decide that what is positive, negative, and make sure cut the negative completely, and put positive thoughts on a daily basis, on every minute and every hourly basis, so that those it grows and becomes trees.
And the human mind is so fertile. The only problem is that too often it is fertile for the seeds of fear. Every human mind is fertile, but only for those kinds of seeds it is prepared for. What is important is to see which kind of seeds our mind is fertile for, and to prepare it to receive the seeds of love. Take the example of Hitler. He sent out all those seeds of fear, and they grew very strong and beautifully achieved massive destruction. Seeing the awesome power of the word, we must understand what power comes out of our mouths. One fear or doubt planted in our mind can create an endless drama of events. One word is like a spell, and humans use the word like black magicians, thoughtlessly putting spells on each other. Every human is a magician, and we can either put a spell on someone with our word or we can release someone from a spell. We cast spells all the time with our opinions. An example, I see a friend and give him an opinion that just popped into my mind. I say, I see that kind of color in your face in people who are going to get cancer. If he listens to the word, and if he agrees, he will have cancer in less than 1 year. That is the power of the word. During our domestication, our parents and siblings gave their opinions about us without even thinking. We believed these opinions and we lived in fear over these opinions, like not being good at swimming, or sports, or writing. Someone gives an opinion and says, "Look, this girl is ugly." The girl listens, believes she is ugly, and grows up with the idea that she is ugly. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is, as long as she has that agreement, she will believe that she is ugly. That is the spell she is under. By hooking our attention, the word can enter our mind and change a whole belief for better or for worse.
So that is so true. I know I read another book called The Psycho Cybernetics, that's written by um, a plastic surgeon. And exactly that book is all about this exact same thing, what the four agreement the author is discussing here, that the belief system, he talks about being a physician, being a doctor, or the plastic surgeon. So he sees a lot of people, on a daily basis, and he sees that few people, okay, they come for surgery to make themselves make themselves look beautiful. And he noticed that few people are already beautiful, already they are perfect, but they still come for the surgery. And also he found few people after even the surgery is done, for example, the nose surgery, and now the nose is more kind of a straightened and looks much better, or the way she or he wanted. Now he's in that book he talks about the thing that what got him to write this book is all about, okay, now he sees that few people have they accept, they see that themselves, like, okay, I look beautiful now after the surgery, okay, they feel and they see that they are different, and few people do not, okay. So that means they complain that to the doctor, that hey, you haven't undergone you haven't done any substantial surgery on my face, and I look the same. And then he says that, okay, even though I could see the difference, I why some people um, do not accept, you know or do not see the change. He says that, okay, then he got to think, and that is what the whole book was all about, that it's not the physical, okay, that, okay, that person sees, but in his belief, okay, within himself, that person thinks that, okay, I'm making my nose or eyes or my physical feature in a certain way, I will look confident, or I will look pretty, or I will be more acceptable to the society, okay. And but when it is nothing to do with the physical being, but you accepting yourself, okay, so that means that mental, the mind hasn't accepted, so that means the mind, you still feel that you are underconfident, so you cannot do certain things, or so when your mind doesn't accept, then entire thing of you changing your physical features and physical being doesn't help, okay. And that got him to write that book, that how the few people change, and their entire kind of personality changes because of one thing in your you know you straighten your nose, and you become more confident. So he says that, okay, that is nothing to do with straightening your nose and confidence. But if you see, that is everything to do with that, because that person believes, and very strongly believe, that with that change, then he can, or he or she can have the, he can be more confident. And when she or he sees the change, that okay, nose is straightened, okay, and a little more confident. But someone who doesn't believe, okay, deep within, even though comes from the surgery, for the surgery, and doesn't believe, um, that it is possible. But again, somebody tells that this is possible, and it goes and does that surgery, and deep within, the thoughts, beliefs still there. And that is the reason why, that person who complains that, okay, nothing, doctor, you haven't done anything on my face, that is what is manifest, that that his or her own belief. It doesn't believe that within, that it's possible or it can change. So it's all to do with belief. And both the books, I think, all the books, if you see all these self-development books, they have common threads, the same thing. Okay, for example, what to say when you talk to yourself, that book talks about the power of words. So I think I was reading a book called Becoming Supernatural. That's another book, we can go through that as well. And that also talks about exactly the same thing. Anyways, guys, we will continue with our book club, and we'll finish it here for today.